Good morning, everybody. It's the 10th of May here, and today I just wanted to get on and do a quick prediction reading. For anyone out there who might be needing a message today, I'm just going to close my eyes and we'll just get started and see what comes through. Well, I'm getting a visual of the dictatorships are trying to rule. I don't even want to share this visual, but I have to share it because the guys won't let me move on. They're showing me like the Hitler March. So they're showing me the soldiers like marching and doing like as they're told. I mean, we could probably also, as a softer way of doing it, and I'm going to change it because I don't want to really talk about Nazi Germany. We could relate it to the Chinese soldiers that are marching in that dictatorship, which happens nowadays, scary as that is. That's the image that I'm getting. The soldiers marching and like people being told and gathered up and sort of almost they're saying to me like conscription as well. So maybe in China, I don't know what the process is over there, but maybe young guys and girls perhaps are conscripted into their armies to stand for government. I'm just getting this word conscription, which is usually when people are forced to sort of stand up for government and join the army and protect government. I'm getting that, definitely, that's very strong. Look, it could only be in certain places. God, I'm hoping that it is. Like I said, I switched pretty quickly to China, so we already know that goes on over there. So I'm thinking that's probably more what it's around. But when they're talking about these dictatorships, that's kind of the visual image that they're giving me, is that they're really wanting that. They're wanting people to just march. Well, I guess the guys are kind of saying they want people to march to the beat of their drum. So this is the image that I'm getting. And maybe we could take that more as just a symbol, is they're wanting people to march to the beat of the government's drum. That will soften that image a little bit, and that's what I'm getting. They want everybody to just fall in line like soldiers and march to the beat of the government's drum, and we know that's not happening because we're not even close to doing that. If you're watching my video, we ain't gonna be doing that. So, but that's definitely the image that the guides are showing me. And you know, it could even be, which is very interesting, they're even saying to me like, oh, this is really positive. They're showing me like the soldiers marching along like en masse, perfect precision, the legs and the arms moving, but then they're sort of saying like people are falling out, but they're not being told. You know how the lead guy who's got the vocals who says fall out, like that kind of thing, and then everyone's like dismissed, but he's not saying that, but people are dismissing themselves anyway. So this could be part of that waking up process where people are kind of dropping out like flies. They don't want that dictatorship. Okay, well, that's what I'm getting. Yes, I know. I'm getting that they're marching towards that, but people are dropping out now. They're dismissing themselves from that, going towards that. So I guess we could take that as waking up as well, but this is the visual that I'm getting. They're not waiting for someone to go fall out, because I think they realize that's not going to happen, and so they're dismissing themselves. So at the back of the pack, it's like people are just sort of scurrying away from the big marches towards dictatorship, and that's a great and positive visual that I'm gonna I'm happy about it today, but that's what I'm definitely getting, that people are starting to make their own choices and they're starting to remove themselves from this stupid narrative that is leading us, as we know, down the road of total dystopia and tyranny and God, you name it, and that's what I'm still getting today. So I'll keep that visual in my mind and you keep it in your mind, because that means that people are waking up. And it's saying to me too that people are actually running scared. Like they're running, like they're actually, sorry, I'm just going to blow my nose. It's really cold here this morning. We're getting into winter and it makes you really, your nose run sometimes. Sorry about that. But it's saying people are running and they're kind of running for shelter. So it's like they're running and they're hiding behind the bushes and they're running. Maybe they're running behind the fence like a lot of us are, as Wilson over here peering over the fence that I talked about the other day. People are starting to hide from the narrative, and that's what we want people to run away from it, and that's a very strong visual message that I'm getting today. But they're not only running away from it, they're starting to protect themselves, because when they can't be found, they can't be sort of coerced or forced to do things anymore, because they're starting to stand up for themselves. So this is the image that they're definitely giving me today. And if you think about it, it's almost like they're actually starting to protect themselves. And I know for anyone out there who's been injured or who's been sort of mandated and forced to have these things, people are realizing what's going on and they're starting to protect themselves by dismissing themselves from the narrative and hiding. And I think we can take that as a positive message today, that people are definitely waking up. They are seeing it. I keep saying it, and I know it's very hard to comprehend because we're not seeing that happening out there. But there's a lot going on now that people are starting to really notice, and it's capturing their attention. I'll see what else we get today. I'm just getting, again, it's very important in the journey, and this is for you watching my video, it's very important to eliminate dead wood. Now, I've talked about this a few times about removing yourself from friends or people who are squashing you or holding you back, like they might be holding your jumper and like pulling you back. It's that crab in the bucket I talk about a lot. People try to drag you back into that narrative. You need to cut and remove the dead wood, because it doesn't serve you anymore. All the dead wood and energy that you're sort of arguing with or things like this in your life just brings negative energy into your life. So you do have to cut those ties and remove people. Look, I know that's really hard when it comes to family, but you don't have to completely like cut the ties with family. You could just remove yourself for a while till you find your stability, or you can touch base with them every now and again, but just don't rise up into those sort of arguments and debates all the time, because it doesn't make any difference, because your view is your view. They're going to have their view. And sometimes you don't always meet in the middle. So again, the message from the guides is just remove any dead wood. You have to delete people out of your life. But I think most of you out there know that that's been an important part of this waking up process too, is to delete sort of that negative energy or people who aren't sort of vibing on your same level anymore. It's very important that you delete those things from your life now, because that's how you keep your vibration up and you keep your vibration stronger, by being around people who will prop you up and who will keep you strong. And that's a very crucial message today. Just remove the dead wood from your life. Now, I'm definitely getting the taking charge. So the very strong message today is that we're on like a chariot. So if you think of a chariot, it's kind of from the Roman days, where the knight would be on the chariot with the reins, and the horses were like the top pick of the horses. They were very fast and they were super strong horses. And these were like the elites of the time. And a chariot to me always represents fast movement. So it's kind of fast movement in our life, because we know, and it's a visual image. If you think of a knight on a chariot, it's a very strong image, because usually they would like lead the charge. So it's like we're kind of, the representation here is that we're kind of out the front and we're making real inroads. We've got the super strong horses, which represents kind of our power and our strength. And we've also got the reins, which also represents to me having control of our lives now. We haven't let go of those reins and handed our power and strength over to somebody else. We've got our strength back. And that's the image of the chariot. They used to have chariot races, I think it was back in, I don't know if it was Roman times, and there were, there'd always be the one that really stood out, the overall probably winner. But this is about personal winning. This is about your strengths. You're having control of your life. You're in control and in charge of the direction that you're going in. And this is a really good, strong and upright energy that I'm getting today. So this is for you watching my videos. You're in charge of your life now. And that's the image that I want you to really see, is that just that charging forth with strength and control. And that's also about things moving. If you think about it, they go very fast. Like back then, that was probably their only form of, or they probably had carriages, wagons and things. But this is about fast movement forward. You think of a chariot, it moves quite quickly because it's sort of one of those racing kind of vehicles. So that's what I'm getting. There could be some fast movement forward that's coming to us, that we're really charging forth now in a really strong way. And that's an image that I just want you to hold, is that you're really strong, powerful, you're in control, you're holding those reins, and you're taking your life in the direction you want to go, and you're going at a really nice fast pace now. You're really moving towards it, is probably the message that the guides are trying to say to you. I'll just see what else we get today. Now I just have to say things when they come through, because if I don't say them, the guides don't give me the next piece of information. We know that's how they work. I'm getting that Canada is still the capital. So what I'm getting here is a variety of messages. So I'm getting that Canada is the capital of resilience. It's the capital of fight backs. It's the capital of governance. It's the capital of testing ground. But at the core, it's the capital of strength. Now, it's in the unity that Canada has strength. Now, this is what the guides are saying to me today. Canada has not lost this. Canada has highlighted, and I want you to take note of this. If you're living in Canada or any of these surrounding areas, gosh, even in America there, you've been affected by a lot of this. Canada has had a huge impact on the rest of the world. And I think we know that when you stood up earlier in the year, that you made massive changes because you woke people up. Now, this is why the guides are saying that you are the capital. You're the capital of the movement. Despite all the other things that you're sort of known for or representing, the biggest thing that you're known for and representing is the fight back and the pushback. You, as Canadians, woke up the rest of the world to what was really going on, because you put the spotlight on the truths. And that's what's made the difference. And that's why they're saying that Canada is the capital. I'll just see what else we get here. And they're saying that Canadians are really dumbfounded. That Canadians are really, they're dumbstruck. It's like, I talked earlier in the year about the grief that Canadians were feeling, but now they're just in total shock and like disarray, that their life has gone from this and become this. Now, we know you've had real struggles, and a lot has gone on, and you've been suppressed, and there's been a lot of sort of dark times in Canada. But there's also been a real emergence of light. So this is what I'm definitely getting for Canada. Don't think that you're a fringe minority group, as Trudeau would say. You're not a fringe minority group anymore. You are the capital of this movement, because you have caused other people to rise up. Look at the bikers. You have made a difference, and I mean on a global scale. Look at all the countries that followed: Australia, New Zealand, gosh, Sweden, Netherlands, America, they stood up with you. All these countries have stood up. So you're not alone in this process either, and that's important that you people in Canada know that. As overwhelming as it has been over there for you. I'll just see what else we get here. Let's just keep saying that Canada has the strength to fight this. And they're saying that this is still not done. Their rollout is still not done. So you've got to hold that in your mind as well, that they haven't achieved all the things that they're wanting to. And this is getting back to example, the march that I was talking about earlier in the video. People are hiding. People are dismissing themselves from that falling into line. People are starting to wake up. You have to trust this. People are seeing what's going on, and they're seeing the injustice and the way people are being treated, and they don't like it. You've got to remember, at the core of people, even though they were in a mass psychosis and they fell for the narrative, you still have to remember that people are coming out of that mass psychosis and people are seeing things and people are hurting. People were kept from relatives. You know, as what Trudeau went on his lovely vacation overseas, probably took all his relatives. So, you know, people are waking up. Information's coming out. And this is what we want. We want people to rise up and stand to their freedoms, because that's what they need. They want to fight back and have their freedoms. But some people just have that fear. They don't have that strength to do it. And that's why it's very important that you grow. You keep growing. And like I said, that people have been damaged over this 2.5 year period. There's a lot more that's gone on, that people are now starting to get their strength back. You think about it. If you lost your small business, or you lost a loved one and you didn't get to say goodbye to them, you would have grieved those situations. These are just examples. You would have grieved those. What grief, they say, I mean, there's no real timeline on grief, but an average, they say, is like 2 years. So we're 2.5 years on now. So these people who have lost things, lost loved ones, gosh, especially if you were someone you know was injured and died from something like this, they're rising back up into their strength and their power, because they've gone through their grieving process and their sadness and their loss, and now they're starting to rebuild themselves and they're getting stronger and they're finding that voice. So you've got to remember that these are the kind of processes that are going on, especially in Canada. I'm still getting that for you, that people they're coming out of that mass psychosis. Like I said, there's always going to be that small amount of people who are never going to see this because they just don't want to see it. They like to be dictated to and told what to do, and that's fine. Leave them to it. They're not our problem anymore. We don't, none of this is kind of our problem anymore. We've moved on from it. But for these people who are in that middle bracket of waking up now, they're going to start to have a lot to say. And I think you'll be very surprised, but I still get Canada for you guys out there, that you've still been the ones that have put the spotlight on everything. You put the spotlights on government, you put the spotlight on the agenda, you put the spotlight on the injustice of all this. So hold that in your little Canadian hearts that you guys have really made a difference globally. And, I always talk about the blob movement, how we're all sticking together and we're really rolling forward and sort of bringing people into to join the blob movement, because that's what's going on. There's still this huge movement across the globe. Now, I'll just see if there's any final messages today. Yeah, I'm getting that, and this is probably for Canada, but look, for a lot of other countries too, New Zealand, Sweden, Switzerland, Finland, Iceland, you name it, Australia, the grief process is kind of softening now. Like I just said, the grief that we had for our old lives is pretty much subsiding, because look, I went through it as well, and I know a lot of you guys did from the messages that you used to comment and tell me, but we've moved into a different phase. We're not even in the anger anymore. I would say, looking back, we probably went through the anger when we were vilified and ostracized and we were being ignored, depending on your situation and scenario. And we worked through that anger, and then it became sadness, and then it became grief. And now I feel like we're in a whole different headspace. And I'm sure that you guys, let me know down below. I love hearing from you guys about where you're feeling you're at. I know a lot of you are feeling a lot freer and you're living your best lives and you're feeling more upbeat and a lot more positive and a lot stronger, like the Chariot. I'm definitely getting that kind of thing now. we've moved into a better headspace, and we're seeing, we've got a lot more of that clarity. We've got a lot more vision moving forward. We're just allowing more flow into our experience, which just allows a better experience. We're very aware of what we focus on. That's something to always be very careful with, what you're putting a lot of your energy on. I know we talk about things here, but this is kind of our safe place to do that. So yeah, comment down below and let me know like where you're feeling that you're at, and it'd be nice to know that a lot of us are feeling a lot stronger and a lot clearer and in our process moving forward. And that comes back again to cutting any dead wood or things that are going to trigger you and remind you and take you back to that sort of, I talk about the pain body like a lot, which Eckhart Tolle talks about too in his videos, but we still have that pain body in us that can rise. It's not that it's suppressed, it's just that it lays dormant, and if it does get triggered, sometimes that can take us back as well. I know I get triggered sometimes when I see things, even on TV, or someone says something that makes me cringe. Like the other day, I know it happened to one of you guys as well. I had to sit outside. I couldn't wait in the waiting room at some clinic here because of you had to be jabbed, and I had to sit out in the snow. I was actually happier out there, to be honest, because half the time they're always sick anyway. And I thought, well, maybe they're doing us a favour by separating us from the people who keep coughing. And gosh, I think you guys are experiencing that as well with a lot of the people who have been jabbed. They're just constantly getting these like head colds. But, that's the stuff that triggers you again. I said how that triggered me because I thought, well, I'm still being ostracized. This is only like 4 weeks ago. So we're still kind of getting ostracized, but then you've got to also turn that around, and this is where it's key, is you turn that around into a good experience, and I actually did, because I thought, oh, well, everybody's coughing so much, I bet there's people coughing in there, so you've let them in, so I was actually happy to sit outside. So I kind of tried to turn that around rather than just rise up and get all angry. And they even made me check in. I don't know if you guys are checking in anywhere. I even had to check in at the high school yesterday here. They're still pretending that they're tracking and tracing. But we had our Prime Minister of New South Wales the other week say that they actually just brought back the tracking and tracing to get people to leave the house so they'd have more confidence to go out. But he said, it was such a good tool, but we're not even doing tracking and tracing anymore. So that's saying to you that they're not even doing it. So, if that's not a lie, what is? So, people are starting to uncover the truth. So we have to just trust out there that this is actually happening. Anyway, I'm going to leave you with that today. Keep staying on your chariot and keep moving forward, and comment below. Let me know what you're going through and how you're feeling at the moment. I know a few of you already have, and it's been wonderful and great to hear you just getting on with your life and trying to live your best life every day. And please subscribe if you haven't. Hit the bell notification so you know when my videos pop up. Hit the like buttons because that keeps these messages churning around and getting those truths out. Share my video if you'd like to. I've also got tons of self-help videos if anyone's struggling out there with anxiety or some of these kind of things and wants to make changes in their life. I've got some tips on there as well. And I will see you in that next video, and I'll say goodbye from Australia. Have a great day, everybody. Bye.